critical conditions getting worse and worse. Pressure on my internal organs. I'm in physical agony. I've had very limited sleep all week. I'm gonna getting in bed to sleep at 10 p.m. at night, and I'm not actually falling asleep till 5 a.m. So I'm in bed 7 hours trying to sleep with internal or crippling internal braking sessions, or subject to internal braking sessions, pulling my power out and internalising the power of my own life. Crippling, degrading internally, catastrophic, humiliating, degrading internally, with my entire life or ability to get power in society snagged. I've just recently made a video stating there's not a chance on this God's green earth I'm ever going to be capable of physically working ever again, because they've spent the last 2 years since leaving Shepcote Lane stripping out my physical exertion of power, or my ability to exert physical power. I'm now saying beyond reasonable doubt that I know now for a fact I will never be physically capable of working, and never physically capable of engaging in sexual intercourse, because A, they've stripped out all my physical exertion of power, and B, they've internalised my sex power or sex power over women completely, and my penis has shrunk 66%. It means it's 30% of the size it was before entering Shepcote Lane or leaving Shepcote Lane. And this all happened seemingly overnight. So I left Shepcote Lane 2 years ago in February. So it's like 2 years, 4 months ago. And seemingly overnight, they obviously took action or made actions after the courtroom. Whatever information submitted at the time as deemed had catastrophic effects, which is the complaint I made anyway. They arrested me for the complaint about breaking sessions, mortification of self and institutionalisation, and they just made the situation 10 times worse, because although I was in a bad state at the time of arrest, I was still physically capable at some point, or able to physically exert power and get work or physical work, or physically capable of engaging in sexual intercourse, which I'm not now. So whatever information South Shepcote Lane has submitted into the system, yeah, there was very limited ability to engage in work or sex, but I was still capable of it and still physically able to do it despite not having the ability to do it. So basically I was still physically capable of doing it, I just didn't have the ability to do it at the time. Whereas now it's entirely different, because they've stripped my sex power out and my physical work, deeming me completely incapable whatsoever. So as the situation, like I've said, I've not slept all week. I'm feeling weaker and weaker as they strip more and more physical power out. It's consuming and taking over every minute or every day of my life for internal braking sessions that are stripping out all my physical power, getting weaker and weaker. My jaw is completely locked shut. Internally behind my eyes, I've lost track completely the encapsulation process. So it's like a dome-like shape behind your eyes that's encapsulated shut with your power shut, or the control over your own life, or physical control over your own life completely locked shut. It leaves you in a physical controlled state, or a drone-like controlled state, whereby they just use you in a controlled state and apparently create your life for you. In other power, and stripped it all out into a controlled state, which the majority of people in jails or in prisons in the UK are just catastrophic controlled states. All they do is serve as human punch bags, whereby they blame mental illness and commit crime against them internally in a controlled state. So that being said, critical condition getting worse and worse, internal braking sessions with crippling and catastrophic stripping out, feeling weaker and weaker, my jaw's completely locked shut, with my entire life encapsulated, crippling braking sessions and mortification of self, transgressions, threats, accusations, liar, sorry, internal degrading, internal humiliation, crippling humiliation, committing crime against your power, stripping out the power over your own life and internalising it into a controlled state. Basically, in summary, I'm an ongoing institutionalisation process where they commit crime against your power and strip it out all day, every day, sometimes thousands of times a day, with crippling transgressions, threats, accusations, and various other degrading, humiliation, and whatever else. So you're just bombarded with a constant stream of crippling sessions or mortification of self, stripping your power out or your physical being all day. So the control state's getting worse and worse. sessions getting worse and worse, all day consuming every minute of every day of my life. And as I've just stated, I've now deemed myself for the last 6 months. I believe it's to the point now where I'm completely incapable of physically engaging in work, which is reserved for the most what the system of classes unstable or vulnerable people in society, which is definitely not the case. And also they stripped my sex power out, which is also reserved for some of the most high risk offenders in the country, the most dangerous high risk double A offenders in the country, which is obviously I'm not that. So they're taking acts in the institutional self that's not in reality happening, if that makes sense. They've stripped my sex power out and they've stripped my physical capability out, and those two things are for the most high risk and the most vulnerable people in society, to which I'm not either of those things. So they do what they want in the institutional self and then justify it later, which is obviously crippling, degrading, still continues, consuming every minute every day of my life, really weak. I've not been to a food kitchen in months because they've stripped exertion of power out or the control over my own life, and the problem's just getting worse and worse. I've gained excessive weight, potentially maybe even 8 pounds to a stone, because I'm not doing anything. I'm not travelling anywhere to get food, so I'm not walking anywhere. It strips all my physical power out, and it's just getting worse when my jaw completely locks shut. Ongoing institutionalisation process in a critical condition, consuming or losing every minute or every day of my life in a critical condition for internal crippling breaking sessions. Catastrophic torture continues, costing me every minute or every day of my life. Still waiting to hunger strike in a matter of weeks. Absolutely disgusting.